Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl, Jackie O, aka Lil Pumpkin Pie 05. So today marks the very first video and I'm so excited. The Aaliyah series, you know that little Aaliyah series I was gonna do talking about in my next video. This is video number 1 from the Rock the Boat video, which is hands down my favorite Aaliyah song, my favorite Aaliyah video. Not to say that any of her other songs are any less great, but Rock the Boat is definitely my favorite Aaliyah song of all time. Classic song, amazingly stunning video. There's a scene where she's wearing like cut off jeans and she's wearing like a white crop top. She's got the background dancers and there's like the green screen with the ocean in the background and they're doing that dance scene. This is the look that she's wearing in that scene. So this was the first look that I decided to create. Aaliyah really doesn't wear a lot of makeup at all. So I noticed that when she does kind of go outside of the box and does wear like really heavier looks, they're usually pretty bold. They're usually very like exactly that, out of the box. Also, I wanted to mention to you guys another fellow YouTuber of mine. Her name is Miss Chris82. Those of you guys that hopefully you currently already watch her. Love her vids, love her personality, I love her style. She has emailed me and decided that she was gonna create some Aaliyah looks too. So looks like we're doing a collabo. Love you, girl. Please check her out. I'm gonna put a link to her channel on the bottom bar. So she's gonna be doing kind of like the same looks and doing the same concept that I am, and we are just both gonna be honoring the beautiful Aaliyah this month. So this look, as you can see, is kind of like an icy blue, silver eyes. She's got crystals on her bottom lash line and a pretty matte face, semi-matte face I probably should say, pink cheeks and pink lips. It's really, I think it's stunning. It's simple yet so stunning and effective. And even if you decided not to wear the crystals, you can still totally rock this to the club. Shoot, me, I'd wear this to work. This is like everyday makeup for me. But it's beautiful and I really hope that you guys like my recreation of it. So let's get into the tutorial. Start off with a foundation. I'm using the Makeup Forever HD. I'm applying this foundation all over my face. I've already moisturized, by the way. And I'm just telling you right now, just so that there's no confusion in the future, this brush is going to be one of my favorite items this month. Just throwing it out there now. I love this brush. It's amazing. And it was only $1. So Aaliyah's foundation in this look looked kind of semi-matte. So we're going to be achieving that look with some powders a little bit later. Make sure you get along your hairline and your jaw. I'm gonna go ahead and fill my brows in. I'm using my Sumita brow pencil from Ziba, and her brows are actually quite full for this look. I mean, her brows were really dark actually, but you don't have to get them to look exactly the way that she wore them. I'm just imitating the look, so feel free to fill yours in the way you normally would. And then I'm just going to take my brow brush and just brush them through a little bit so we don't have any harsh lines from that pencil. The next thing I did was I applied a bit of concealer to my eyelids, and I'm using this as a primer. On top of that, I'm using my Maybelline 24-Hour Color Tattoo, and the one that I'm using is Tenacious Teal, which is basically like a really pretty bright blue. And even though the look that we're going for is not bright blue, you're going to see shortly why I use that blue base. So I'm just applying a bit of that straight onto my lids, from inner all the way to outer corner. I'm going to use my Urban Decay Naked palette, and I'm working with Gunmetal eyeshadow, which is this really pretty smoky silver color, and I'm applying this color directly onto my eyelid. That eye look was kind of like a silvery ocean blue eye look, and the reason why I chose that bright blue base was because I wanted it to look more blue than it does silver, because this eyeshadow has a little bit more silver than it does blue. So I was basically just trying to bring out the blue in that shadow, which is really pretty on its own. Isn't that pretty? I then used an LA Splash body and face glitter. The color I'm using is Premium, and it's a gorgeous silvery pigment. And because I wanted it to look even more shiny and pretty, I'm sprinkling just a bit of that on top. I think this is just going to be all the shine that we'll need for this look to stand out. So I'm just using it sparingly. See the difference between the two already? See how much shinier this side is versus this side? So these two silver colors really complement each other well, but you don't really necessarily need to have the LA Splash to pull this look off. I just think it was just all the touch of glamour this look needed. I then used Creep eyeshadow, which is that dark smoky black from the Naked palette. And this color is being applied just on the outer corner of my eye in a V-shaped motion, because Aaliyah is pretty much wearing like a two-tone smoky eye where the silver blends into the black. And the black pretty much stayed on the outer corner from what I could see from the video. And it was also kind of like winged out a little bit, kind of pointed at the end, if that makes sense, like that. See how I kind of made like that sideways V shape? Now I'm taking a blending brush and very carefully, to avoid over blending or really going overboard with this black, I'm just gently blending around the edges and smoking that outwards. Circle motions for this step, as well as back and forth sweeping motions. So it's gonna look something like that. In this look, Aaliyah had the transitional trick that I like to use, kind of like crease colors. So I'm gonna take Buck eyeshadow, using this color in a wider blending brush around the edges of where we applied that dark black. I'm going to gently sweep this color into our crease. And that's gonna soften up those lines, those harsh lines of the black eyeshadow, and just bring this look all together a little bit better. So now I'm gonna zoom out because we're gonna work with the bottom portion of our face, and we're gonna finish up from there. I'm going to now use my Coastal Scents Camouflage Concealer Palette. I'm gonna be using this shade under here, under my eyes, as a highlight. And I'm just applying with my finger. But I'm just, again, applying that with my finger. Really love how creamy these concealers are. You definitely get a lot of bang for your buck with these. Don't be afraid to blend it up along the temples, because you can blend that out with a sponge. And just make sure you get close enough underneath your eye. I'm also going to apply just a small line down the bridge of my nose, up into my forehead, and then along the bridge of my eyebrows with the amazing Beauty Blender. But we're gonna dampen it first. Never use this thing dry. A little Fix Plus, and just dab that and blend that into your foundation. This thing seriously is like magic. Sponges in general are like magic, but I love the shape, I love the texture of them, and I just love how practical they are. Make sure you don't leave any streak marks behind, and when in doubt, keep on blending. I'm going to take that blending brush that we used earlier along the bottom of my eyes just to clean up any of those harsh lines, so we get a little bit more of a neater presentation along there. And then same on this side. You're going to need to set that concealer with a setting powder. I'm using Ben Nye Banana Powder, and I'm applying that directly under my eyes with a latex sponge. Really lock that makeup into place, keep it from creasing, and also add some highlight. I'm also going to dab along my nose because I do get really shiny there, and up along my forehead. Then you're going to need a big fluffy brush. You're going to need to brush off the excess gently. Please do it gently, girl. Don't mess up all that hard work. Be gentle with your brushes. I then use the translucent face powder in Chestnut, which is also from Ben Nye. And I'm using a beauty puff to press and roll that powder onto my skin. But be sure, don't get too carried away and use too much like I just did on that side. That has toned it down significantly. I'm just continuing to pat and press it on. So as you can see, I applied quite a bit of product at first. And then what I'm going to do is take that large fluffy brush again and just kind of buff it out. These powders really do have a beautiful finish, but Chestnut is a little red, but oh my god, the finish to me is just beautiful. It all just depends on how you want your foundation to look. Plus, Aaliyah's skin was quite bronzy in this look anyways, which is kind of why I wanted to use that product to begin with. Speaking of bronzer, I'm going to use my CoverGirl Queen Collection bronzer around the hollow points of my cheekbones and the temples of my forehead. Then I'm also going to use it to contour my nose. She was pretty diva'd out in this look, pretty contoured. So I'm just starting just where the eyebrow ends actually, and I'm traveling that all the way down the sides of the bridge of my nose. Aaliyah's blush and lips for this look were pink, so I'm going to use NYX Dusty Rose blush. Applying that on the apples of my cheeks. We need to bring back some color that the foundation does take away a little bit. And Dusty Rose is such a soft color that it's really hard to over apply. For the most part, I'm done with all the powder products, which is what I like to do before I do mascara. So let's go ahead and finish up the eyes. I'm going to apply a black kohl liner to my inner waterline. And then I applied a little bit of that excess shadow that I used when we were working with our blacks and silvers to my bottom lash line. Didn't even add any more product. I'm just smudging and smoking that on my bottom lash line. Now I'm going to be using my e.l.f. liquid liner. And it's not going to be a super thick line. It's just going to be just a pretty subtle line. And we're doing it like that. And then for mascara, of course, Maybelline's Lash Stiletto. Apply that nice and thick, nice and black, and add lashes if you wish. Next, Aaliyah had like this really pretty like jewel lash in the center of her bottom lashes, and I thought this would be the perfect time to use these sugar pill lashes that I have, which look like that, and they've got pretty much little tiny blue sequins on them. Super adorable. So I'm just gonna place like 1 or 2 lashes on my bottom lash line. I'm just gonna pop 1 or 2 of those bad boys right there. So it should look like that. I may or may not decide to add a Swarovski crystal later, simply because the blue almost kind of, you can't really see it because of my long freaking lashes. So we'll see how I feel. We will see. I'm lining my lips with a soft brown liner. This is Cork by MAC, my favorite. Then I'm using 2 NYX lipsticks. The first one I'm using is Thalia, and then I'm using Hippie Chic. I'm gonna be using both of them. So I'm gonna first be working with the darker pink, which is pretty. My first time wearing that one on its own. I think it's pretty. Nice everyday wearable nude. And then just on the center of my lips, I'm going to add the Hippie Chic or whatever lighter one that you may have. Or you can even wear it as is, doesn't matter. Lip was very much so glossy, so I'm using my Lancome Juicy Tube. Okay, I definitely decided I'm gonna add a Swarovski crystal to my bottom lashes. Let's do it. Might as well. So all I'm doing is putting on 1 dot of lash glue right where I want to place the crystal. I'm gonna let that get tacky. And then I placed 1 Swarovski crystal. This is the color Crystal AB. It's gonna look like that. So it looks pretty cool. Yeah, I'm definitely glad I did that. That looks a little bit more true to the look. And with that said, that is the final look. I really thank you for joining me today. I hope you guys liked the tutorial, and I cannot wait to show you the rest of the Aaliyah looks I have planned. If you have any specific requests, feel free to please leave them down below in the comment section of this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys at the next video. Bye.